The one that you're going to know about living in Toronto is condo living is everywhere. You can drive down any main street and you're going to see either a couple condos already going up, a couple condos already there, and cranes in the sky everywhere. Condo living is here and it's here to stay. And it's certainly not a bad thing either. If you think about the idea of how expensive Toronto is, we need more entry-level properties to come onto the market so we can have an opportunity of homeownership or even affordable renting. So having more condos in the sky is actually a good thing and not a bad thing. Plus, I'll speak for myself. I certainly could not imagine living in a detached home as my first home. It's a lot of room for one person or two people. So it's a great entry-level unit to start your real estate journey and build something that's your own. And it's definitely, more space conscious compared to a huge house. One thing I do every single month currently on my Instagram, and I'm bringing it to YouTube, is I talk about the Toronto condo numbers when it comes to renting and buying. On my Instagram account, I tend to sum it up really quickly, just off basic rent versus buy numbers. On my YouTube channel, once a month, Toronto condos by the numbers. I want to break down the Toronto condo market when it comes to renting and buying numbers a little bit more in detail, analyze the trends, and see what's changing in different types of Toronto condos, either it be a studio, 1 bedroom, 1+ stand, and a 2 bedroom. And before I jump into the numbers, if you don't know who I am, I'm Gabriela Batista from Homes into Reality. I'm a GTA real estate agent. I help a lot of first-time buyers, help with their first-time buying goals. It's a very scary market, especially for first-time buyers who don't know the market very well. So my goal is to educate, help people throughout the process. If either they're renting the first property, getting ready to buy the first property, I want people to be educated and confident. So when they're able to, buy that first home, they're going to feel really great about that process and feel really good about the product that they're buying. If you wanted to book an appointment and talk about your first time buying dreams in Toronto, you can definitely book a time on my calendar in the link in the description. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I post weekly there, post weekly here on YouTube as well, or sign up for my newsletter, Future Homeowners, which comes out every single Tuesday, where we talk about the Toronto real estate market just for first time buyers. Side note, this is totally off script. It's going to bother me, so I'm going to say it. My glasses are very much reflective. I usually have different ones. So you guys are going to be looking into the camera the whole time. You'll see it. So putting it out there, I know. We'll put it out there. On to the stats. We're going to start with studio condos. And the studio, of course, is a really small shoebox. Is properties, no bedroom, just one giant room. But we'll look at the renting numbers to start. And if we look over here, move up this way. When it comes to studio rents, the actual property itself was rented out for about a median price point of $2,100 for January. And you'll notice that since the peak in September, we were just under $2,200 for a median price point. It's been fairly flat. You've been looking at about $2,100 every single month for the past few months. And that's good news because rent's stable. But it also says, $2,100 for a studio apartment is a lot of money. So that's something to consider when it comes to studios. So we're now looking at studios to purchase. And that price point's a little bit interesting. The median price point of January 2023 was $481,750 as a median price point. And if we look at the trends over here, we're looking at a very zigzag line. It's not stable at all. And that mostly is because so few studios actually sell compared to the amount of studios that rent. And what's interesting, sometimes in a month you might see, let's say 10 or 20 studios rent. Like it's not a huge number when it comes to keeping track of statistics. But it's been a very zigzag line. It's slightly up from December, but not to the point where you're concerned about the trend line. But it's been a very unstable market when it comes to tracking those numbers. But again, $481,000 to purchase a studio in Toronto. Let's move on to the 1 bedrooms. Again, 1 bedroom speaks for itself a little bit. You got your 1 bedroom, you got a typical layout, typically between 500 and 600 square feet. Not a huge layout, but a nice layout, better than a studio. You're looking at the median rent price point of $2,387 according to the stats of January 2023. And when the trend line, if we put it over here, you're looking at a 1 bedroom rent. It really peaked starting, let's say, April of last year. You really shot up. You're peaking around August and September, and they've very slightly declined since then at a very slow rate. With that being said, it's been a pretty stable price point at around the 2,400 price point mark since the peak, and it seems like it's been a stable since then, even with less activity going on. Now moving on to purchasing a 1 bedroom, which is a very common layout, very popular layout, great entry level unit for a lot of people who don't want to deal with a studio, but they want that 1 bedroom space. You're typically dealing with the median price point here is $559,000 according to last month. You're looking at a market, if we pull up the graphs over here, we're seeing that 1 bedrooms since June definitely took a little bit of a dip and a drop since, not even since June, since the beginning of the peak. Took a drop and kind of were dipping down a little bit, stayed a little flat, dipped down, and it's staying pretty flat. But since October, the 1 bedrooms have stayed pretty flat in terms of price point, no major changes. when it comes to it, but they definitely have taken a pretty big spike down since the peaks of February, March of 2022. Moving on to 1+10s, one of my better layouts. It's a great layout if you want an office space, if you want a small kid's bedroom. It's not a full-size bedroom, but it's definitely a space where you can have some separation in the property. Your average rent, or your median rent, my apologies, for a 1+10, you're looking at $2,577. A slight increase, about a $200 increase from a one-bedroom rent, but that $200 gets you a good amount of space extra. You're typically in the 600 to 700 square foot range when it comes to these properties, and a lot of people prefer these properties as their first unit because they want that extra space when they move into the first property. And when we look into the trends, we're looking at a very similar thing to the one bedrooms. You're having prices that really peaked up when it comes to rent. Started even in February. They very slowly and then kind of spiked up a little faster to August and September, where they peaked off at about $2,600 a month. And they've stayed at that price point and maybe dropped a little bit further now into $2,577. Pretty stable at those price points now when we're looking at rents. Now, when it comes to buying 1+10s, that's a very popular as well. I actually am looking at 1+10s right now with some clients. You're looking at a median price point of $617,000. It's, again, a little bit of a step up price point wise from a one bedroom, but that price point's interesting. It's had a very similar trend to the one bedrooms. They were at their peak in the March and April timeframe, and they've slowly kind of dropped down, then stayed a little bit stable, dropped down, stayed a little bit stable. You notice that July, August, September, they were fairly stable, and then dropped down again into November, December, and January. So it's been a bit of an up and down when it comes to a 1+10 price point wise, but they have some stability, and then all of a sudden it'll change again. So that's an interesting price point in terms of that. And when it comes to two bedroom, we'll start with when it comes to renting. You're looking at $3,000 as a median price point to rent a two bedroom in Toronto. And if you look at the graph over here, it's interesting because this actually has a little bit more movement than the average one. The prices in January were flat until March. They really spiked up pretty quickly when it comes to two bedroom rents. They topped in August and then they stayed flat until November. But you'll notice in December, there's a little bit more of a drop. And I'm seeing currently in the market, there definitely is a little bit less of a demand for the two-bedroom unit in the current market. So in December and January, it dropped off a little bit, ending with a median price point of about $3,000. And now when it comes to the median price point of purchasing a two-bedroom, my favorite layout because it's the most amount of space you're typically going to get in a condo. 3 bedrooms aren't as common, but 2 bedrooms can be really, spacious and plentiful. You're looking at a median price point of $690,000. That's the first time in a long time it's actually dropped below $700,000. Usually you're seeing in the mid sevens and low sevens. So it definitely dropped over that price point. It has had a pretty significant dip since the peak of the purchasing market up in March and April. So that's something that's very curious. So it's been a little bit more volatile, the price points from there. And it looks like it has a little bit more footing now that they've stabilized on their prices. But it's interesting. We'll definitely see where this one goes. And it tends to be the top end of the purchasing market because you can get some really big luxury 2 bedrooms, which have suffered more, or you can get an entry-level 2 bedroom. So there's a lot more variance when it comes to this type of property. So this number tends to kind of be as up and down as some other ones. And that's all the condo layouts you're looking in Toronto. I'm going to find a better way to do this in terms of bring the numbers, but I will say, I think looking at these condo numbers once a month is very valuable because, again, for a first-time buyer, even let's say an investor, but mostly first-time buyers who are tracking the condo market because they want to get into a condo, knowing what's changing when it comes to prices, medians, averages is really important. And knowing what the rents get you compared to what you're buying. You may be renting a condo right now and you're not sure what that rent compares to a buying number. So I think on a monthly basis, I'm going to track these numbers and send them out and show you guys on a longer form scale. And what's important to show is what I'm seeing in the condo market as well. So if I can share that to you guys, I think is very valuable. So that means you gotta keep coming back every single month or every single week because we post every Thursday on the YouTube channel. So anyways, Gabriela Batista, Homes into Reality. If you have any questions or want to book a calendar link with me, you can do so in the bio or in the description of the YouTube video. And I post every Wednesday on Instagram. I post every Thursday on YouTube. And every Tuesday, we have my Future Homeowners newsletter that comes out every single week talking about being a first-time buyer in Toronto. If you're a first-time buyer in Toronto, there's a ton of value I can add to you. And I think, booking a call might be a good idea to get you started on that pathway. Anyways, Gabriela Batista, once again, Homes into Reality. No more rambling. Enjoy your day. Take care as always.